everyone. It's Wednesday morning. Hope you're all blessed. Hopefully you're having a better start to the day than I am. I got to the gas station. Luckily, it was a gas station closer by. We're doing 2 trucks today, by the way. And I realized I forgot my blower. So it's not a good feeling. It's something that didn't happen very often, luckily. Either way, I'm good. I went back home and got it's about getting close to 7:30 now, so not off to, like I said, a great start, but I'll push through it like I always do and have a good, solid day for sure. So I got an interesting topic. We're going to be talking about the chemical that I'll be using in my solution in one side of the tank. As I mentioned before, I've got a split tank. One side is 290 gallons, the other is 110. I've got my big side filled up with probably 250 gallons worth of solution. So yeah, what am I using? And this is very highly effective. And by the way, it's a selective. Selective is a chemical that will not, it only targets certain weeds, so to speak, and it won't kill your good grass or your good turf, right? Non-selective Roundup will kill anything that is sprayed on, unless it's like, brush or whatever. Sometimes you have to spray it, multiple times, get it to die off. But yeah, just give you an idea of, the difference between selective and non-selective. So obviously I got the selective in there. One of the chemicals, it's 2 different chemicals and a surfactant. Change Up is the main chemical ingredient in the solution, and MSM. So yeah, MSM, it's just a good add-on. It's fairly cheap. So I like to put that in there, a lot of the other solutions that I use, because it's effective against various weeds, broadleafs mainly, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's not, like I said, it's cheap. So it's just good to throw in there just to add some extra power to your solution, so to speak. But either way, Change Up, like I said, it's the main one. And it's one of my favorite, selective herbicides that I use, especially for this time of year. Now you gotta remember that you're gonna be, if you're in the chemical and fertilization side of things, you gotta know what chemicals to use when. Certain chemicals obviously aren't gonna work or be as effective in the winter as they are in the summer, and vice versa, right? So Change Up is something primarily that I'll use in the summer, when it's hotter and all that kind of thing. So it's gonna be more effective against those summer weeds that you see popping up. Spurge, Virginia buttonweed. There's all kinds of various summer annuals that Change Up will knock out. Even some, I've noticed, it's not on the label, but even nutsedge. I don't think it'll kill it, but it'll definitely turn it yellow. I've noticed that, especially when it's warmer outside. Your chemicals are typically going to be more effective when it's warm and dry, I've noticed. That's just what I've noticed. Whether it's a non-selective or selective herbicide, seem like they're going to be more effective when it's warmer and drier. So I prefer not to spray with dew on the ground. I'd much rather the dew be dried off before I spray. So that's just something to consider, something I do and something I've noticed, something I want to avoid. But either way, guys, hey, listen, like I said, I got a busy day. Going to be mowing. I got about 10 I'm going to try to mow on my own. I'll be spraying some and fertilizing some. So I got a little bit of everything. I also be going to the bank and picking up some straws. So it's going to be a busy day. Got a lot to do. A lot of other things outside of, a couple other things outside of work I need to take care of, that kind of thing. So yeah, and I want to make sure, have a good solid week, so I don't have to work on the weekend. My son's got a football camp that he's going to be attending Saturday morning. So I want to make sure I get to go to it with him. So I'll be probably working a little later today. Not sure when I post this video, by the way. Maybe today, tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. Not really sure. It just depends on when I put everything together and it fits into the schedule, so to speak. But I've already got some footage. I'll be getting some footage, sprinkled in throughout the video, some talking. I hope you're all blessed, everyone. Have a great day. See you soon. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. So yeah, I guess I'm sure you saw I've clipped me fertilizing there. So what I do when I fertilize a yard, this will be the second spread, and I'll just be doing it throughout the month of June. Hopefully I'll be finished fertilizing that second round of fertilizer by the end of this month. But anyway, yeah, so when I do that second round, I'll go around and spot spray. I use what's called Tribute Total. By the way, it's an all-in-one selective herbicide. Now, it says it'll kill pretty much any weed. Well, obviously, you're gonna have those harder to kill weeds. You gotta spray twice. You know, you're never gonna get a selective to kill those hard to kill weeds after that first time. You know, most of the time, maybe sometimes, but typically it's pretty rare. But yeah, Tribute Total is a good one. Like I said, it says on the label that it pretty much take care of any weed selectively, right? So obviously it's not going to hurt the grass, the turf that you're spraying it on. That makes sense. But either way, so here's a good question. So I had some fertilizer left over in my garage from last year. I just got done using it all. I've already fertilized around 5 yards. How long will fertilizer last without losing the effectiveness? That makes sense. That's a good question from my man Donnie. I'm sure he probably knows, but I imagine as long as it stays dry, right? A lot of times I'll open up older bags, and if you get any kind of moisture in there, they'll clump up. You know, that moisture, water that somehow gets in there. But luckily these were still dry, which was good. So I'm assuming it's going to last a long time as long as it stays dry, like I said. So curious if any of you guys would know that. When does it start losing the effectiveness, fertilizer, depending on how long it's, you know, sitting there, you know, waiting to be put out. But yeah, so I ran out of that fertilizer and just picked up 12 bags of the stuff I was originally using in my first round. It's doing a really good job. All the yards that I'm fertilizing are really greening up, looking super good. You know, most of them are weed free, or pretty close to being weed free. You always got to make sure you tell your customers, guys, if you're doing treatments. You guys have been doing it a long time, know this already, but it's rare that you get a yard without any weeds at all. Okay, so yeah, it's perfectly normal to still get weeds in the yard, even if you're treating it. And that's just something you're going to have to communicate with your customers, because a lot of people just think just because you spray and fertilize it that means that you're never going to have a weed. That's just not true. If you can get 75-80% control with your pre-emergent, you know, that's pretty good. So that's just something that I've learned over the years, and try to communicate to customers, lower their expectations a little bit. And the best way to control weeds in the yard is honestly to have a healthy turf that's growing really. Hey, not sure what happened right there, guys, but yeah, I just cut off randomly my DJI camera. Either way, I just got done at the bank. It's always good to get that done, especially if you don't have guys with you. Go ahead and get that knocked out, because I mean, obviously if they're with you, I'm still paying, right? So I went ahead and got the bank run done for the week. I typically go once a week, take care of, you know, checks and deposits and all that kind of stuff. So that's good. But yeah, I left off at the end of that previous clip there talking about your best defense against weeds is a healthy turf, right? You guys have been doing this and do long treatments and fertilization, know that. Because I mean, typically you're going to see most of your weeds in the spring when it's coming out dormancy, right? Especially if you're not putting down pre-emergence. But even if you do, you're probably going to see some more so than right now. So yeah, if you can get that turf, whatever turf it may be, growing nice and healthy and thick and lush, it'll choke the weeds out, right? So that's why fertilizer is so important. Get that grass, that turf grass, to really grow, because if you can do that, it'll choke them out, and you'll have possibly a weed-free yard. So yeah, typically early on, like I said before, you're going to see more weeds in the spring when it's coming out dormancy, when it's thin, right? And then as it thickens up, you'll notice those weeds tend to go away for the most part. You're still going to get some, but not as many. You just need to make sure you're putting down good fertilizer, at least 2 or 3 spreads a year. Some people do more, but generally around here, 2 or 3 spreads a year is what most people do. But either way, yeah, make sure that turf is healthy, and you won't notice as many weeds in the yard, that's for sure. Either way, hope you're doing well, guys. I'm getting ready to mow a yard. May get some footage of it. Talk to you soon. Hey everyone, hope you doing well so far today. It's about 12:30. I'm getting ready to go get a bite to eat. Y'all saw me just spray that yard there. I want to make a quick point when it comes to spraying. Obviously, I don't have a pre-emergent in the solution like I mentioned before, so I'm not really worried about putting it on as thick. That makes sense. I just need to put a glaze over the grass, and obviously whether it's a weed or not, it really doesn't matter. It's really safe. By the way, the one thing about Change Up that makes it so good is the fact that you can spray it when it's 90 plus, and it's not going to yellow the grass. Now, there was one occasion when it was probably 95 and pretty dry, and the angle of the ground that I had sprayed was at an angle to the sun, if that makes sense. So that particular yard is actually across the street from my house. Turned yellow, but it greened up relatively soon after. It turned yellow for a little bit. But either way, yeah, that's one thing about Change Up. It's very safe and effective. The main thing is the fact that it's effective, but it's safe when it's hot. You can spray it when it's hot and not worry about, killing the turf, unless obviously you put too much chemical into your solution. Right now I'm actually using, I think it's 16 ounces per acre is the rate that I'm using to Change Up, and then I'm coming in with I can't think of the amount of MSM, but it's not a whole lot, and then a surfactant. So typically for the surfactant, I'll use around 32 ounces per 100 gallons of water. That makes sense. So that's typically what I do. Sometimes not quite that much, and it still seems like it works really well. But you definitely want to put that surfactant on there help that chemical stick to the weed itself. So yeah, got that done. I'm doing more fertilizing than anything. I've already fertilized like 8 yards and mowed 3 and sprayed a couple too. Did one combination, fertilize and spray as well. I think I might have mentioned that before. But either way, yeah, so yeah, one more thing I want to mention. So I did a yard where the guys, Justin and JR, came and mowed, and this particular customer is pretty picky when it comes to weed eating a certain way and all that kind of stuff. So I told them to do what they did. Then I came back by and weed eated around the fence. He likes it weed eat a certain way around the fence. So I came back by and did that, and he wanted me to weed eat the natural area, the beds, and behind the fence. He wanted me to weed eat that, so I charged an extra $25. So $70 for the mowing, then another $25 on top of that. So I made extra $25 on top of the $70 mowing that the guys did. So yeah, that's something I'm having to do. I'm having to coordinate, communicate well with not only the customer, but let him know what's going on, but the guys as well. And it seems like things are going well. So yeah, off to a good start overall, despite the slow start. Getting ready to get about to eat, and we'll get back at it. This next yard, I'll probably mow the next one. It's going to be on a hill. I'll get some footage of it. But anyway, hey, listen, hope you're all doing well, guys. Talk to you soon. Hey everyone, it's finished up. Y'all saw me get that footage there. edging the curve there. Normally I prefer to edge it with a stick edge, that particular part of the curb. On further down, yeah, I don't mind really weed eating, but I went ahead and just weed eated it. But either way, yeah, got that yard knocked out. It's a pretty good sized yard. Prefer to have somebody, but it's kind of out of the way, so I figure I'd go ahead and knock it out and then head on home. It's close to 5:30 now, so it's been a pretty long day, hot and humid. Looks like it may storm. If you're gonna see those clouds there, looks like it may storm here in a little bit of rain. So glad I was able to get a lot fertilized too. I think I ended up mowing 6 and then fertilized, and I may fertilize one more by my house, small one, and sprayed 17 different yards that I fertilized and sprayed. A few of those are combination. Yeah, definitely, yeah, you see that? Yeah, it's definitely looking like it's raining out there. But either way, yeah, I think I did 17 jobs that I sprayed or fertilized, so that's good. And again, guys, hey, listen, this particular combination that I mentioned before, change up, and I don't think I said the price, so you can get a 2.5 gallon jug of change up. I think it's about $280. It may have went up a little bit. I believe I paid around $280 for it last year. I had some left over, so I'm using now. But again, 16 ounces an acre. I mean, you can get a lot of coverage out of that. You can spray a lot of yards with that amount. So that's the one good thing about this particular round. Given I'm not using a pre-emergent, you know, it's very profitable. You know, that sort of thing. So that's good. And fertilizing too, obviously. Just to give you an idea, so a typical yard that I may charge, say 60, I'm generally going to charge 65 to 70 to treat it, if that makes sense. So it doesn't take quite as long as it would to mow whenever I fertilize or spray. And again, this particular treatment round, making some really good profit. So that's good. But either way, y'all let me know if you got any kind of questions. I think I mentioned the fact that you don't have to put it on a stick, so that's obviously good. You know, I just want to just kind of just kind of wet the surface, so you're able to get done even faster, you know, spraying this round. So that's good too. Let's see here, what else was it that I was going to add? Yeah, the guys did a good job. They got done a little after 3. They had to skip 1 yard, I believe, and had to skip a backyard of another. So they ended up doing, I think, 21 that they mowed. So that's good. So yeah, proud of them for working hard and getting the jobs done. I don't think I mentioned, I had to tell JR this week that he'll only be part-time. I mean, if he wants to go ahead and get a full-time job somewhere else, that's okay. But I gotta have somebody, you know, replace Justin. You know, once Justin leaves for good in September, October at the latest. So yeah, Kobe will be coming in Monday for the first time Monday. He'll go ahead and get started. Yeah, I have a lot of confidence he'll be able to take over Justin's position, driving the truck. And from this point forward, I really want to only have guys join me that I feel like could eventually drive a truck. You know what I mean? So that's something I'm gonna be looking for sure. But either way, y'all, hey, listen, again, change up, MSM, the surfactant together makes a great combo for summertime weed control. Okay, I mean, I'm talking this, probably my favorite change up in general. It's going to be my favorite selective herbicides, especially for summertime use when you're wanting to broadcast. Again, I use Tribute Total for spot spraying. It's an all-encompassing selective. You know, you can spray various, you know, weed types, winter and summer weeds. But either way, yeah, change up's great. So yeah, if you're wondering what to use or a good combo, especially for the south, and that may be different for the north, depending on what kind of weeds you have up there. But for the south, change up, MSM, not overly expensive, very profitable round for me to knock out those stubborn summer weeds. Spurge, Virginia buttonweed. I saw some chamber bitter in some yards, and it even affects that nut sedge. It'll turn it yellow. I'm not sure if it'll kill it completely, but I know it'll definitely turn it yellow. Whether it completely dies off or not, kills it to the root, I'm really not sure, but it does affect the sedges. I think it's called Kalinga. There's another type of sedge, I believe, that I see in yards in my area, and they'll turn it yellow as well. But either way, hey, great day. Got off to a little slow start. Ended up changing my plan a little bit. You know, didn't mow quite as much. I said I mowed 6. I was thinking originally around 10, but I ended up spraying and fertilizing more than I was expecting. So all in all, really good day. Not sure if I post the numbers or not, I may. But hope you're having a great week, y'all. Y'all let me know in the comments if you got any kind of questions, you know, about spraying the herbicides and whatnot. Just let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer. And appreciate all the new subscribers too, by the way. I've gotten a lot from those last 2 videos I've done. Posted a short yesterday, but the last 2 full videos that I did, I've gotten quite a few new subscribers from those. So appreciate all you new guys that have subscribed. Just feel free to comment anytime and I'll make sure to answer. Either way, have a good day overall, guys. Hope y'all did too. God bless you. Talk soon.